3, 2, 1, let's go! Did that sound like Mario at all?
Let's go.
Amadeus Wolfgeist from Luigi's Mansion 3 has particularly long fingers. This is likely a reference to piano fingers, an expression meaning that if someone has long fingers, they can be a good piano player because it'll be easier to reach the keys. The same sound effect used in the Dream Deep battle against Phantasma in Mario and Luigi Dream Team appears in the Nintendo Switch remake of Link's Awakening. More specifically, it plays when the Shadow of Ganon sends fire bats at Link. Mario Galaxy's Baron Burr's name is likely a reference to Aaron Burr, the third Vice President of the United States from 1801 to 1805. Burr is most commonly known for his dispute with Alexander Hamilton, which led to Burr killing Hamilton in a duel in 1804. Bowser's roar from Super Mario 64 to Super Mario Sunshine is actually a stock sound. It was created by Sound Ideas for the Universal Studios Sound Effects Library. It was first used in the 1957 film The Land Unknown. Cackleta's boss fight in Superstar Saga, in which the player fights the head, hand, and heart of Cackleta, is similar to the second form in the battle against Isana. Isana is the final boss of Alpha Dream's very first game, Koto Battle Tengai no Morbito. In that battle, the player fights Isana's head, hands, and a blue core-like object, kind of like a heart. In the North American version of the fight against Elder Princess Shroob in Partners in Time, her crown is given an attack rating, even though its only purpose is to shield her from damage, not to attack. In other versions, the crown has an attack rating of 0. Army Hammer Bro from Super Princess Peach is unique compared to the other bosses of that game, in that he utilizes his vibe right at the start of the fight. Instead of only taking damage 3 times, he can also use that vibe as many times as he wants to summon Hammer Bros. The radar-looking device that Fawful uses before his dark, Fawful fights in Bowser's Inside Story is modeled after a Nintendo DS Lite. Gloomtail's room is located just above Sir Grotus's. That means when Bowser falls all the way down to Grotus's room, he has to pass by Gloomtail's room. By using cheats and glitches, the player can go to the hidden area in Gloomtail's room and see a giant hole. Speaking of Grotus, the main antagonist of the Thousand Year Door has a funny little bug in the English version of the game. After you defeat him, Mario has 2 choices, attack or don't attack. In other regions, don't attack is at the top, but for some reason in English it is the second option. Therefore, if Mario selects don't attack, Grotus replies, "Worm, you dare defy me?" In Superstar Saga, during the boss fight against Jojora, if one of her friends dies to burn damage, the game will freeze. This does not happen in the Japanese version, nor in the remake. Super Mario Galaxy's Camella's wand has a translucent texture over its orb. If examined, that texture turns out to be the logo of the GameCube. In Luigi's Mansion, King Boo says the line, "I will not give up my favorite decoration. I like Mario just where he is." Star Wars fans will recognize this line as it is a reference to a line said by Jabba the Hutt in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Just replace Mario with Captain Han Solo. Now we're gonna knock 7 facts down with Koopalings, who all first appeared in Super Mario Bros. 3, starting with Larry Koopa. An official Nintendo magazine in Great Britain started the rumor that Larry was named after American talk show host Larry King. This would get confirmed false by Dave Brooks, the one who named the Koopalings, by stating that his namesake is the drummer Larry Mullen Jr. from the group U2. As you will see, it seems that all the Koopalings named are based on musicians. But Dave would contradict himself in 2015, saying that they named Larry simply because he looked like a Larry. So which is it, Dave? Then we have Ludwig von Koopa. Ludwig is partially deaf in some of the comics. This is obviously a reference to his namesake, Ludwig von Beethoven, who is famously known for having lost his hearing later in his life. Now Iggy Koopa, named after Iggy Pop, the leader of the band Iggy and the Stooges, is famous in the Super Mario world and new Super Mario Bros. Wii speedrun communities because he is the only Koopalink that must be fought in order to complete these games as quickly as possible. Morton Koopa Jr. is named after the singer Morton Downey Jr., and despite being the heaviest Koopalink, His jumps do not cause the ground to tremble, unlike Roy and the much lighter Ludwig. He gained the ability to do it in later games, but his jumps are still weaker than Roy's. Roy Koopa, whose namesake is derived from the rock and roll musician Roy Orbison, appears in Smash Bros. 4 and Smash Ultimate. However, in those games is another Roy from Fire Emblem Binding Blade. This marks the only instance where two fighters share the same name, and this coincidence led to a screenshot of the game showcasing the two. Lemmy Koopa is named after the founder of the heavy metal band Motorhead, Ian Fraser Lemmy Kilmister. From 1996 to 1998, the Santa Fe Reporter aired an ad for the company Reynolds Insurance that had the line, "Give a homeowner like Lewis the time to surf the internet or conquer Lemmy Koopa's castle in Super Nintendo." Finally, we have Wendy O. Koopa, named after Wendy O. Williams. In New Super Mario Bros. 2, she is the only Koopa Link to not use her magic wand, even though she has it in her hand. Coincidentally, Monty Moles shares a name with the protagonist of a 1984 British platforming game titled Wanted Monty Mole. This was the first game by the company Gremlin Graphics, and it was released for the ZX Spectrum and the Commodore 64. Super Paper Mario's Mr. L's title is the Green Thunder. This could be a reference to Luigi's Thunderhand ability in Superstar Saga. Rango is one of the Brutals from Mario Odyssey. Rango has a southern drawl, pronouncing your as your. That, coupled with his long ears, shows some similarities between him and Disney's Goofy. Before Shadow Mario's first appearance in Sunshine, Metal Mario had a selectable blue skin in Mario Golf, making him look very similar to Shadow Mario. When fighting Swiggler from Superstar Saga, energy blasts are sometimes fired during one of his attacks. Looking closer, those blasts are actually purple bullet bills covered in fire. Vivian has the ability to hide under the ground. In the Japanese version, the player can open the pause menu even in this state. If this is done during Vivian's tutorial, the game will be soft locked. In Super Mario RPG, Zombone is the Caesar dragon after it has fallen into lava, only to come back as a skeleton. This could be the inspiration behind New Super Mario Bros. Dry Bowser, as Bowser also falls into lava before resurfacing as a skeleton. Who from Super Princess Peach shares many similarities with Scowl from Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. They both are the second boss of their games, they are both owls, they both create eggs that spawn smaller owl enemies. They are both fought on top of a tree, and they both fly for the grand majority of their fight. In the English version of Paper Mario the Origami King, the hole punch is referred to as he, but in all the other versions it is referred to as a she. Along with colored pencils, Hole Punch is the only member of the Legion of Stationery to have male pronouns. And finally, we have Histocrat. Due to them being snakes and being 8 in total, Histocrat and his minions are likely a reference to Yamata no Orochi, a serpent dragon from Japanese mythology known for its 8 heads. Alright, that's 30. Hopefully you guys learned some interesting new facts today, because I sure did. Thanks again to the folks over at the Mario Wiki for finding all of this trivia and sharing it with the rest of us. What was your favorite trivia, and do you know of any others? Let us know down in the comments. This has been Danny with Game Domain, and I'll see you in another video.